What up, y'all? I'm back with another video, and I'm here to review Logic's fourth official mixtape back in May of 2013, 2.5 years ago, a little over 2.5 years ago. Young Sinatra, welcome to Forever. Now, I do have gripes about this mixtape, and this is definitely a mixtape. This is definitely not an album. This is definitely a mixtape. This is definitely not an album. This is something else. It's a cool project. I'm going to be talking about my gripes with it at the end, but I also talk about them in the during the video as well, as I'm reviewing certain tracks. But I will say this: Logic has grown from this mixtape. On Under Pressure, some of the wordplay and references are the same. That's one of the gripes, but he has grown. He definitely grew out of this type of feel and type of artist he was with The Incredible True Story. He definitely was more of an quote-unquote amateur with this mixtape than what he is on today with a project like The Incredible True Story. But let's just get into this, and we can get into all that. And I have notes for this project. And as I got deeper into the project, I realized I might not have needed notes, because this is not something that I have to just need notes for, because it's just so mind-blowing. It's not that mind-blowing of a mixtape. It's good, but it's not what I was expecting. It's not what I was told it was going to be. So, first off, I appreciate the scratches on this mixtape, especially in the beginning of like the first 3 songs. There are some scratches on here. I'm like, there we go. Bring back the scratches. If he wants to go for the 90s feel, bring back the scratches. If he wants to like give a salute to the ones who came before him, bring the scratches back. He's very stingy with the features. I can appreciate that. That's good for Logic. You don't need people holding you back, holding you down. You need to hold them down and hold them down with the few features that you give them. Now, track number 1, Welcome to Forever. Logic is talking about coming from nothing, about making it. He used to wonder what it feel like. I swear I heard something like that on Under Pressure, and even on The Incredible True Story. I believe he kept saying, like, I used to wonder what it feel like. I'm like, oh, now Logic, come on now. This is one of the gripes I'm talking about. You've been talking about that since Young Sinatra. And I'm not going to judge this mixtape based off of The Incredible True Story and Under Pressure. I'm not, because this is when he was younger, less experienced. He didn't even have an album out at this time. So I'm not going to judge it off of that. But if I'd have listened to Young Sinatra and what came before this, before I listened to Under Pressure and The Incredible True Story, I would have definitely had some gripes on Under Pressure and The Incredible True Story, because you've been shouting out the greats, your heroes. You've been talking about not the same stories, but the way you're talking about certain stories and some of the same stories for the past, from what I can base off of, 2.5 years. The beats are definitely excelling. You're growing as an artist, but just kind of still talking about the same things, the same references, the same wordplay, and I love the clever wordplay, but I feel like you're trying to do too much. I feel like he's guru influenced. I feel like, I don't know. I feel like he is definitely not an amateur, but he wants to shout out the people who inspired him. That's great. Just do that at your show. Don't do it like almost every track on the album or on the project. Like, how many more projects are we going to have when we're talking about Biggie and Nas and Big L and Tupac and Tribe Called Quest? And I have something about Tribe Called Quest when we get later into this video. But anyway, and Logic on this song, Welcome to Forever, is talking about, meeting Nas, meeting his fans, meeting certain fans. He brings up being biracial, which he does really a lot throughout this project, and then slows down from it and then gets back into it towards the end. I'm like, how many more times are we going to talk about your race? I mean, we all know you're biracial. We all know. I mean, yes, and we'll get into it. Track number 2, 925. This is a turn-up type of feel song, but it's not really a turn-up song. Clever lines about Paris to Tokyo, so he shouted out Lupe. And like I said, clever wordplay, clever references, but they get boring. And then they get to the point where it's like, are you even trying? And the not nursery, kindergarten rhymes, but rhymes that anybody can come up with. Anybody. I mean, just anybody. Like the way he uses words that have the ear at the end or the eel. It's like anybody can rhyme with that stuff. Maybe the way you rhymed with it, or maybe the way you said it and how you use those words and put them into a certain context. I'd be like, huh, because Guru was like that, except Guru, he never used just words anybody could use, anybody could come up with. He used words that you had to read the dictionary, or read a lot of books, or just be around people who have a lot of wisdom and knowledge to hear those type of words and come up with words you can rhyme those with. With Logic, I'm like, not even am I asking, is he really trying? But I'm like, are you? I just can't explain it. But like I said, I'm not judging it off of The Incredible True Story and Under Pressure. This is his fourth mixtape. This is before he even had an album, so I'm giving him some slack. But if I'd have heard this before I heard Under Pressure and The Incredible True Story, I'd have been like, come on now. Now, track number 3, Roll Call. Man, this Outkast, Miss Jackson sample, I was like, there we go. Now I see what everybody's talking about. He is influenced by Andre 3000 and Outkast. I can hear it not just because of this beat, but because of his flow. He sounds like Andre 3000. He sounds like that Jezebel Andre 3000, if you ask me. He has that type of flow. And then again, he talks about Biggie, Big L, and Tupac. I'm glad he brings in somebody like Big L. I mean, too many people are talking about Tupac and Biggie. People need to start referencing Big L more and giving Outkast some more shout outs. And like I said, clever wordplay and references again. He brings up his race, and he talks about receiving racism from his mom and leaving home because of drama and everything, and how he can make it just like Obama did, because Obama's a biracial man, and how no one knows his story and what's inside of him. So to start off, this was a pretty enjoyable mixtape. Then we got into track number 4, 5 a.m., which I just love. I love that fucking beat. Goodness. Logic brings up his race once again. He talks about everything that's in front of him and what's behind him, how he's got money now. It's really a mindset in the zone type of feel. Like, I want to say 3-6, but it's not 3-6 at all. Really, could it be 3-6 inspired? Yeah, but it's not really funk. It doesn't have that crunk appeal. It's one of those songs you listen to when you're working out or you get up 5 a.m. in the morning. What are people doing at 5 a.m. in the morning? Getting ready for work. They have that mindset like, okay, time to go to work, time to grind. Whether it's a 9 to 5 or they're in the studio like Logic or something like that. I can appreciate this song. And the track number 5, Break It Down. And see, I stared at the fucking ceiling the whole time because I felt such a natural high off of this song. Just the instrumental had me like this at the ceiling, like the whole time. And what can I say? It's nothing different than any of the other songs. Logic really talks about really the same things, just in kind of different ways on every track on here. Like nothing about Logic really stands out on here. So this is definitely a mixtape. Nothing really. I mean, he talks about things that anybody can think of. Like I said, he rhymes with words that anybody can think of. You can say I'm being a little too hard on him. Maybe I am, but that's because I heard the albums first. Then I'm going back to a mixtape. But anyway, we'll get into all the gripes I have and tips I could give him, even though I'm not a rapper at all. I'm just a listener. Track number 6, Feel Good. Well, what can I say? It's a feel-good song. A shout out to Biggie again. He references cities and venues he's at and been to, and how his ex, he still has a broken heart. So he's like, what's the point of all this money and shit if my heart's still broken and everything? And it's a cool song, but it doesn't make me like, I'm not feeling like I feel after Under Pressure. I'm going to go ahead and spoil it. Well, I'm not going to spoil it. Track number 7, Saturday. It's just a funny John Witherspoon pops from the Wayans brothers. He's the dad on that show. That's who it is. He also plays a couple other people. He plays the old guy, and he's the old guy. He's the dad of the woman who is Sean's wife in the movie Little Man, where Marlon is the little man. But it's a funny thing. See, this is what I'm talking about. This is definitely a mixtape. This is definitely something that somebody who has a mixtape is putting on. Amateur-ish to an extent, like I said, because you wouldn't put that on an album. This is more of a not a kid's thing to do, but a new rapper's thing to do. Good God. Goddamn. Anyway, damn. Sorry. Freaking First Takes on, and Molly Quirm's ass is just great. Anyway, track number 8, On the Low. Ink and Trinidad James, Kid Ink, are featured on this song. What can I say? Trinidad had, at the first point of this album, this mixtape, the song for it, I'm just confused as shit. Trinidad had an okay verse, then he just like, oh, that's the Trinidad I expected. Kid Ink was like, Logic saved this song. He saved it, and the beat saved it. There are a couple more songs on here that are like a flex turn up feel, and this reminds me of Ballin', really, just without the features. Now, track number 9, Walk On By. Okay, showing some real amateur shit with the freaking intro, but Logic does showcase MCing / rapping on here post Golden Age, and that's another one of the gripes I have with this. We're gonna get into all of this as I read these notes. He sounds way more like, well, we're not gonna get into it. But the references to Biggie and Tribe, they just get it annoying. They get annoying after a certain amount of time. And track number 10 or 11, I got confused because freaking YouTube playlist was fucking. Let me see this. Track number 10, The Come Up. This was a cool song. I like the freaking shit where he said, spit gold, I believe. Yeah, spit gold like I got a grill in my mouth. There we go. I mean, people could think about that, but who's really thinking about that? Like, who's thinking about a grill in 2013 at this time, 2013, really? And track number 11, Nasty. See, I thought it was going to be a lot of Nas references, Nasty Nas, but it wasn't. This was a cool song. I mean, it was nasty. I mean, you already know how the term nasty is used when we're talking about sports or music. If you say something's nasty, it means it's good. Just like when you say, that shit bad, or you say a girl bad, that means she's great, she's good. And this song was alright. Now, track number 13, Randolph Returns. See, skits and things like this is definitely something that, like I said, would be on a mixtape. It reminds me of The Game when he has his little skits and shit on his documentary 2 and 2.5 albums. So I'm like, well, damn. It can't be that bad of Game. I mean, I'm not saying it's not. I like it. But it's like The Game's doing it, and he's just deep into this game. He's been doing it since like 01. So to hear Logic do it, it's like, I guess like to do it isn't that bad if you got the professional. I'm not gonna call him professional rapper. Fuck that. But anyway, track number 13, Randolph Returns skit. This dude Randolph calls in asking to speak with Logic, and the bitch is like, "Oh, they don't pay me enough. Visionary doesn't pay me enough." And like, dude's like, "Visionary ain't shit, and Logic ain't shit. I was supposed to sign him first so he could sell his soul or something like that." I'm like, good for you, showcasing like you had a chance to sell your soul and you didn't. Good. Do I care though? Goodness, maybe if he did it. See, that's the thing. Maybe if people did things certain ways, different ways, I could dig it. I'm talking about 14, Ballin'. The title should explain it. It's not a basketball song, but it is about ballin'. I really don't have to expand on this. Nothing really sticks out about this or the features. C. Castro. Nothing really. Now, track number 15. This started to save the mixtape a little bit. Young Jedi featuring Dizzy Wright. This is what I'm looking for from Logic and from Dizzy Wright. Dizzy Wright's okay. I've heard like 2 songs from him. He's alright. What can I say? Logic definitely beat Dizzy on this, but Dizzy kind of I don't want to say fell off, but I don't know how to explain it. Dizzy was just being Dizzy, but to a certain extent, though. Now, track number 16, The Highlight, featuring Elijah Blake. I couldn't appreciate the singing on here. I can appreciate the Over My Dead Body from Drake sample. But it's like, logic. Why? I mean, none of these beats are really that, like, they're not dull, but they're not over the top. They're not like, I don't want to say revolutionary, but they're not just all that to me. None of these beats on, like, after we got through songs 1 through 5, I was like, this thing is starting to slow down. But it's not like it's a bad mixtape. It's just not all that to me. Maybe it would have been all that if this was the first time I was hearing the Logic and then heard the albums. So I'm like, it's mixed emotions. Track number 17, Common Logic featuring Midnight Marauder. Fuck the Common Logic. Let's get into Midnight Marauder. When I saw Midnight Marauder, I was like, oh, there we go. Something about Tribe Called Quest is going to come up in this. Of course, he uses the skit 7 times out of 10. We listen to our music at night. Hence the name Midnight Marauder. And he did something like that on the Under Pressure album. And what can I say? When I heard that, I was like, you know what? And I heard the freaking award tour, which some of y'all have heard. You know, we on a award tour. Mom and my man, rushing each and every band with a mic in my hand. You probably heard that on a Madden 05, I believe it was on there. And Suck a Nigga. I was like, he got the freaking, not sample, well, yeah, samples from those 2 songs. So I was like, you know what? He's definitely influenced by A Tribe Called Quest. And I can appreciate that because influence, like A Tribe Called Quest. Not one of my top 10 groups of all time, no doubt. So when I saw that, I was like, this is where he got it from. Right here. Midnight Marauders. I saw that, I was like, let me go get this album and showcase it, just so people know that A Tribe Called Quest is not some fucking made up group. Just like none of the other rappers are a made up group. But yeah, I appreciate that. But I'm like, why are we? You know what? We'll get into all that. Like I've said like 20 times now, we will get into all this. We're already at 18 minutes, but if you look at this whole thing, shout out to you. Let me take this fucking hood off. If you look at this whole thing, shout out to you. Anyway, track number 19, Man of the Year. Now, this was the song I kept hearing thanks to my brother, who's not going to be mentioned. But he kept playing this shit and playing this shit and playing this shit. One day, I couldn't. I was like, good God, what the fuck are you listening to? And it's a cool song, but I don't see why this is the song that everybody goes back to. Maybe because it's titled Man of the Year. There are a lot of songs titled Man of the Year that people just love. I can understand that Schoolboy Q one. I can really understand that Rich Homie Cuomo. But this one, I guess I can see it. Like, he's talking about how he's beaten everything in his way so far. He's the man of the year. But really, if you ask me, you're a man of life. Okay? And he talks about rats, people coming around only when he's winning. I'm like, okay, I can appreciate you. I can respect you bringing that up. But you're just saying it like anybody else was saying it. Like, I could read that exact, like, the way he's saying it and what he's saying, I could read that off of Facebook right now if I wanted to. And track number 20, The End, which is apparently a remix. So I'm thinking, like, yep, that it's definitely a mixtape because it's a remix. I like this song. I actually like this song. Was one of the better songs on the near the end of the album. This was, like, if you ask me, the best song on the album after the songs Welcome to Forever, 925, Roll Call, and 5 a.m. And you know what? Break it down too. Now, let's get into my gripes about this. Because I like this album. I mean, this mixtape. It was alright. The this isn't really a gripe, but he's stingy with the features, like I said, and this isn't the most. This isn't your like wow when you look at the features type of mixtape, and rightfully so. It's a mixtape, but here are my gripes about this. And Logic has grown. I really have gripes about his past projects, actually, if you ask me, because with this, I can understand him being a little more of an amateur, trying to grow, which he does on Under Pressure and The Incredible True Story. But the way, like I said, what he talks about, the way he's talking about it is so not played out, but it's played out for him because it gets repetitive and boring and kind of annoying. The simple lyrics that anybody could use, and like I said, I listen to rappers who have simple lyrics, but it's the way they say the lyrics. It's like, Logic, nothing about you is really standing out on this mixtape. In the transition from this to Under Pressure and The Incredible True Story is I can see the transition, but he still kind of has this, like the simple lyrics, the flows, what he's talking about, and how he's saying it. And I appreciate him for wanting to give a shout out to the greats, but stop doing it every song, and that's what he did on here. I mean, you're 4 mixtapes in. I can't imagine how many times you're doing it then. And like I said, this is kind of me. I'm not trying to base this off of The Incredible True Story Under Pressure, but for this, I am because I'm going back and listening. I went from The Incredible True Story to Under Pressure to this. And this is a lot of references that get annoying, a lot of wordplay that if he could like step up with what he's saying and how he's saying it and the lyrics, like let's get out of the middle school and get into the high school to college lyrics. Let's try to rhyme those. And if we're gonna stick with the simple lyrics, fine. Just change up our style, because he's not really doing that too much on Under Pressure and The Incredible True Story. I kind of hear the same thing on, like, at least the references and the lyrics kind of sound the same on Young Sinatra and Under Pressure. The beats have elevated with every project. He's grown as an artist, yes. But I feel like he's trying too hard with the wordplay and the references and the shout outs and this is not his fault because of what time he grew up in and what his generation is right now as far as hip-hop goes, my generation as well. I can't really blame it on him, but if he's trying to be different, let's be different. But at the same time, I'm like, good for him not wanting to try to go back. He wants to grow. He wants to excel. He wants to do it at a higher level, and I can dig that. But it sounds like he's doing a bunch of emotional, at least on this project, emotional, not singing, because he does that on Under Pressure a good amount, not singing, but emotional talking when he's rapping. It's like a bunch of fast talking, but very emotional. He can rap. He can fucking rap. He doesn't really do that too much on here if you ask me. Like the Bone Thug flows are okay, but he's not really rapping. He gets into that with further projects. And he starts to MC. With this, I'm like, Logic. You're really just, he's doing what he wants to do. Good for him. He's doing what he's supposed to do with music and for hip-hop. Express yourself. But if you're trying to, when you give shout-outs to the greats, but then come off sounding like totally different, which I don't mind people who are different, when you sound like you're just talking very fast, about to cry, very emotional, I'm like, ugh. And it's not your fault, the life you've had, but I'm not a core Logic fan. I can't appreciate him talking about his personal stories, like watching his sisters getting, not raped, but just, fucking, and walking in on his dad smoking crack and his brother selling drugs and things like that. If I was a core fan, I could appreciate that more. I'm really not trying to hear about that. Maybe if he made it more interesting. That's all it really comes down to. You want to rap simple? You want to keep rapping about the same things, the same references and wordplay and, simple lyrics? Fine. But let's be more interesting. And he does that when he gets on these next projects. So Oh yeah, and I feel like he's not really, because he likes Tribe Called Quest. He's not really, he's storytelling, but it sounds like I said he's talking very fast or slow sometimes. He's just talking to you, kind of like a Drake. And this is where the Drake thing comes into play. I'm not seeing his Drake and Kendrick and J. Cole influences on this. I'm hearing them more on the Incredible True Story. So I'm like, I guess he's more comfortable now, so he's fine with letting his influences show. That's great, but that you're more comfortable. But like, you've grown as an artist. Why would you let your influences show now? That's kind of an amateur thing. I expect you to do that on this. So at the same time, he's not as good, but he is kind of better on this at rapping than he is on something like The Incredible True Story. He's more himself on this, if you ask me. He's more himself on Under Pressure and The Incredible True Story, really The Incredible True Story too, but he's more comfortable, but he's not really himself. Yes, he's himself, but he's more comfortable with himself, so he's rapping like other people, his influences. I'm like, damn. And this is a long-ass review, but I'm going to wrap it up now. A couple more things I want to say. He's storytelling, like I said, but he's just talking fast or slow. He's not really doing it to the point where it's like a hip-hop type of feel, like a tribe would. They're telling their personal stories, but they're not very emotional. Maybe it's because they grew up in a different time and their generation of hip-hop was different, so they're a little more masculine with their storytelling. Logic is a little more of a emotional type of Drake, kind of a Kendrick feel with his storytelling and rapping. Well, storytelling. Like I said, it sounds like talking. Kendrick has evolved to where he can talk, and Drake's always just been Drake. But he's not really he's referencing them, but he's not really showing that he's like them. He's showing more of he's influenced by who comes out at this time. But then he wants to say fuck his peers, but you sound like your peers. So it's like, and I don't want any rapper to sound like anybody they're influenced by. I mean, it's cool if you have some references and you kind of sound like them, but to sound like really like them, it's like, I'd rather you sound like Tribe Called Quest and guys like this. But I don't blame him that he can't, because time he grew up, how he grew up, and the generation he's in now as far as hip-hop goes. Tribe is totally different. Late 80s throughout the late 80s throughout the mid 90s, their prime years. So it's not his fault that he raps way different and MC's different, and just the way he tells stories is very different. It's definitely very different with anybody who comes up in this time. You're telling your story, but it sounds like you're talking to us. When they tell a story back in the day, like a Slick Rick or a Biggie or a Tribe Called Quest, it sounds more of a storytelling, but it's not their story. It doesn't sound like their story, at least. This is more of a let me let my emotions out feel. And that's how hip-hop has kind of gotten less masculine, more for the quote-unquote pussy age. But Logic is not a pussy, from what I can tell. And there's more I want to say, but the person I want to say this to, I'm going to be in a party with them sometime soon anyway, so I can tell it to them soon. So if you want to know more, let me know in the comment section what else you want to know about what I feel about this. Let me know what you think in the comment section below. Share the video, like the video. Let me know what you think of my review on it and how you think he's grown from this to Under Pressure and The Incredible True Story. I'm sorry if it sounds like I'm bashing him, but this is definitely more of a mixtape and his more amateur of Logic. He's definitely grown, but he's definitely still has a way to go from where he is now to where he was back then with this project. He's transitioning and progressing, but like I say, he still has a way to go. So anyway, I'm out. Like I said, be sure to like the video, share it, subscribe, get me on Twitter, Facebook, AudioMac, SoundCloud, Instagram, hit up my email for business or anything. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you next time.